Okay. Greetings, viewers. You're welcome to this edition of Healthy Me 247 with Pharmacist Peter. I remain your host, Pharmacist Omeliko Peter. On today's edition, I want to briefly just touch about a very simple habit, a very simple the topic conduct while visiting a hospital, not just a hospital, conduct while visiting hospital and pharmacy stores. Okay, so what are these conducts? First of all, the hospital, you already know, is home where a lot of people don't come to the hospital to celebrate the day. Why do they come to the hospital? They come to the hospital for health related issues and the like. So you're expecting a lot of diseases, health issues and the likes in the hospital. So as such, when you're coming to a hospital, whether for a visit, to visit a patient or to get treated, you ought to be at your best so that you're not coming to get typhoid treated and probably you're going home with cough, going home with catarrh alongside the typhoid you came to treat. You get my point. And then you will not want to come to visit a patient, and at the end of the day, you yourself, you're returning a patient yourself. So that's why we ought to be at our best. So what are the basic things now you ought to be at to, while visiting a hospital, whether as a patient, as a visitor, whatever, even as a worker? First of all, avoid touching surfaces. A lot of us, we like to touch a lot. We love to touch a lot. You go, you sit down, you sit. If you want to sit down, you touch the seat. Some people even go as far as, funny enough, in the hospital seat, somebody will come and use his hand to clean it before he sit down. So if you're in the hospital, please, the hand is very much important. Avoid touching anything if possible. Avoid as much as possible not to touch anything. Touching surfaces and all that, avoid it very much, because a lot of people in the hospital, people sneezes, people cough. These things, particles are in the air. So try to always avoid touching surfaces. When people cough, sneeze and all that, particles, germs, bacteria, they go on the air, they rest on this thing, they rest on all these surfaces. So when you touch them, your hands kind of become a harbor to most of these things, and definitely you get contact with yourself and you get affected with what you don't know. So avoid touching surfaces, very much important. Use face mask if possible. A lot of, like I said, when people sneeze and all that, most bacteria, germs, they get into the air. So they are airborne diseases. You could easily get some of these things inhaled and all that. So when you wear face mask, you actually prevent some of these things. So try wear face mask if possible. You can do that. Face masks are not expensive. Wear face mask. And these days, hand sanitizers, because you unavoidably sometimes, unknowingly, you can touch surfaces without even knowing. If you have your small hand sanitizer, they are very portable hand sanitizers these days. You sanitize your hands, because washing hand points are not readily available in most of these places. So you sanitize your hand as much as possible. For the ladies, just as you always carry your handbag, make hand sanitizer as your friend. When you visit your hospital, always from time to time, especially when you notice you've touched surfaces, you sanitize your hand. And if possible, if you could access a running water, properly wash your hand as often as possible. And another very much important tips, please and please, you're not going to die the few minutes you're going to be in the hospital. If you can, try to avoid eating in the hospital. If you can't, there's condition, a patient is being admitted, is a different thing entirely. But you just came to visit the hospital. For goodness sake, you're coming from home, you came into this place, and just 5 minutes, 10 minutes you want to stay, you want to start eating, walking around, eating and all that. If you can, avoid eating while in the hospital. It's very much important. But some situation cannot be avoided, such as, like I said, a patient being admitted, you're going to visit a patient, take care of a patient for up to a day or two. You have to eat, but then you try to try to involve every hygiene processes possible you get. And then lastly, I want to beg you, those of us that take kids, toddlers, to the hospital, whether they are sick or you're carrying them for a visit, whatever reason, these children, their immune system is not yet as strong as ours. Take care of them. If you're not going to watch over these children, please keep them at home. If you're going to go to the hospital, maybe you're taking them for them, watch them. Why I raised this point was because I was at work one day and a small child came in. Mommy left her. Mommy was gisting with someone else. And that's how this baby was licking ice cream. Fortunately, the ice cream fell down. And Before anybody could see her, she already carried spoon, the ice cream spoon, scooping it from the hospital floor and licking. Before we could see rush the baby, she has already engulfed a lot of it into her system from the hospital floor, from the floor, not even from anywhere. So please, a lot of things can come after this. So thank you very much as you adhere to these things. I did not make mention of all, like I don't know, or you know it all. You can drop some that you know, but the main thing, just try to be at your best. Thank you very much. I still remain your host, Pharmacist Omeliko Peter. If you've not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. If you have any topic you want us to discuss, drop it in the comment section. Thank you and remain blessed.